Mario Kart games are a large staple to the Mario franchise, and sometimes Nintendo as a whole. If you know Mario, you know Mario Kart. Each and every Mario Kart game has brand new tracks that are new experiences in comparison to the last. Of course, newer titles also have the older tracks as retro additions, but that's not important for the sake of this video. In today's video, we will be looking at the absolute best and worst track from each mainline Mario Kart game. Obviously, this list is subjective and will not include retro tracks of any kind. So now, let's get right into this. Of course, to start off, we should go to where the series began. However, Super Mario Kart is very lacking in interesting tracks, and a lot of the tracks are similar to each other due to the repeated themes and, of course, the hardware limitations. Rainbow Road, being the only unique track in the game, is a pain, and overall not super interesting aside from its difficulty, yet beats the rest of the tracks in this game by a landslide. It's also worth mentioning that this more or less set a standard for the series, and every game in the Mario Kart series ends their main cups with the new Rainbow Road track. At the time of this game's release, I'm sure many people spent countless hours just trying to beat Rainbow Road for their first time ever. On the other hand, when thinking of a bad track, it was actually a tough choice since there's really not many interesting tracks overall. But at the end of the day, Bowser Castle 2 is not a good track by any means. The track is insanely confusing to navigate, and there's even a dead end at one point, which is something I'm glad was never done again. All the turns are super sharp for no reason, there's too many split paths, like, this is just horrible design overall. Next up is Mario Kart 64, which had the proper hardware for 3D this time. Mario Kart 64 was also the first game in the series to have unique themes for the tracks. You still have some themes that are used more than once, like the raceway tracks, but other than that, you're not getting nearly as much repetition as before. And as cliche as it sounds, Rainbow Road is an amazing track. Despite being a much less challenging variant than that of Super Mario Kart, and being the longest track in the series even to this day, some say that this version feels more like a reward than a challenge at the end, which isn't really a bad thing since you can really go either way. The music almost gives me this sense of nostalgia, which is strange because I was 15 when I first played this game, and that was in 2019. Keep in mind that this game also predates me. I mean, I grew up with the Wii. Enough about that though, because on the other side, we also have many tracks that are not as interesting as Rainbow Road. And, of course, there's some flat-out bad tracks. And I had three options in mind: Yoshi Valley, Bowser's Castle, or Wario Stadium. Yoshi Valley is annoying, but has interesting gimmicks going for it. And Bowser's Castle is a staple to the Mario Kart series. This is just something that they've done in every game. And sometimes I'm on and off with the track. It's only annoying when I don't like it, I don't know. But on the other hand, there's Wario Stadium. Wario Stadium is a very boring track, which is problematic as is, because it's the second longest track in the game. The design is pretty bad as well. It's just piles of dirt and more piles of dirt. Oh, and there's blue images of Wario's head pasted all over the sides of the walls. And there's also piles of dirt. I almost had no reason to play this track, though, unless I'm trying to rebeat Star Cup or something. Honestly, what is there even to say beyond that? Moving to the Game Boy Advance, you can play Mario Kart on the go for the first time. Mario Kart Super Circuit shares a decent bit of similarities with Super Mario Kart, but Super Circuit has a lot more variety in the themes of the tracks, and overall has far more interesting tracks. And yes, I know you can unlock the tracks from Super Mario Kart, but right now that's not relevant. Anyway, if you know me from Twitter, or if you just are a good friend of mine, you would know exactly where this is going. Yep, Sunset Wilds. Sunset Wilds is a track like none other. This can be said about the whole series as a whole, really. The changing sunset on every lap is really pretty to look at, and overall the track isn't really that annoying by any means. I mean, sure, there's the Shy Guys that are weirdly placed at the end and hitting one will slow you down, but even then, they're not that hard to avoid overall, and generally speaking, it's a nice looking and balanced track. It's pretty looked over as well, but then again, so is the game as a whole. But if you want to talk about an annoying track, Lakeside Park has your back. And that wasn't supposed to rhyme, but Lakeside Park has always been my least favorite track in Super Circuit. It generally offers unfun and obnoxious gameplay, where sometimes you have to even slow down your turns just so that you quite literally don't bounce to an earlier part of the stage. And yes, this can literally happen, and it's hard to avoid it if you don't expect it or don't know about it. Some people really praise this track for its visuals, which I guess are alright. It's a pretty bad track overall, though I'm pretty indifferent about the visuals of it. Back to the home consoles now. Double Dash is the first game to be in complete 3D, as 64 actually consisted of only 3D tracks and used pre-rendered sprites for the characters. When it comes to tracks, Double Dash never really seemed that interesting to me. I feel like a lot of the tracks in this game are just okay or downright forgettable. An iconic one here and there, but even those are comparatively lacking. Yet there's something about Mushroom City that I kind of like, and I can't put my finger on it. It's not like a new thing to have a highway track in Mario Kart either, since Toad's Turnpike was in Mario Kart 64. But Toad's Turnpike is literally just a figure 8, and it's kind of long, for no real reason. The intersections and split paths are pretty cool in Mushroom City, and it almost kind of reminds me of times where I'm on a long road trip and it's late at night and I'm on the highway. Hopefully you understand where I'm coming from with that kind of aesthetic. I guess the only difference here is that real life probably has less cars to get through at that hour. I guess it's a pretty strange feeling, but it's still there in a sense. But of course we still have the tracks that I don't care for as much. Dino Dino Jungle is only memorable to me for the fact that it's so annoying, and it's partly due to the strange physics in Double Dash compared to both its predecessors and successors. The beginning of the track offers my least favorite parts overall, almost right off the bat. The dino stomping is annoying, especially if I need an item, but sometimes it can be okay. The bridge, on the other hand, just downright sucks. You either have to go slow to be safe, go quick and fall because of the controls, or you bump into someone and fall into the water. After that, the track is alright. It's not as bad as before, as long as you can avoid the geysers when they erupt. Otherwise, it's a pretty bad track, and I really can't stand it. Back to the handhelds, Mario Kart DS steps in with a boatload of new stuff for the series, including retro tracks from games other than the first game. Those, again, will be disregarded for this video. Other than that, some of the most iconic tracks of the series come from this game. Mario Kart DS has a lot of fun and interesting tracks with great themes to consider. Some people would pick good old Waluigi Pinball for a section like this. I mean, it's an amazing track and it's iconic. But me, I'm actually more of an Airship Fortress kind of person. This was probably the first track in the series to be based on a previous mainline game, being based on Super Mario Bros. 3. And other than that, it's a pretty fun track overall. Most of the track takes place on this airship, if not a fortress. I wonder how it got its name then. There's tons of rocky wrenches and traps to try and avoid and slow you down. And it can be pretty tough, but it's a fun kind of tough, and it's not annoying. Overall, I love this track a lot. I just can't pick the right words for it. But even though Mario Kart DS has tons of iconic tracks, there's also this one strange track that Nintendo added to the game and called it Figure 8 Circuit. Figure 8 Circuit is overall a bad track for the series as a whole. You can shove this in literally any racing game and it'd still be as generic as it is. It's literally just a figure 8 with hardly anything Mario themed. That's it. That's the entire track. It lives up to its name that well. Even for a beginner track, it's pretty bad. Because as they say, first impressions count. I would have been fine with another character named circuit track with a lame design that's at least more interesting than a figure game, because it would actually feel like a Mario Kart track. But no, we got this instead. Just like its successor, Mario Kart Wii has a decent bit of iconic tracks, and most of them here are probably due to people's nostalgia biases for the game. All in all, I can hold my hatred toward this game aside for just a bit here to talk about some of the tracks. Like I said, there's some iconic tracks that originate from this chaotic game from 2008, and no, believe it or not, my favorite track isn't Coconut Mall, but it's up there. My favorite Mario Kart Wii track is actually DK Summit. DK Summit, also known as DK Snowboard Cross in some regions, is one of the more interesting snow-themed tracks of the series. You basically start off entering this cannon, make your way down these various half-pipes and these cautious edges, and these ramps for doing all these cool tricks, and these snowboarding shy guys, and, well, you get the gist. It's a pretty underappreciated track, but it's still a really good one overall, and one of the more bearable ones in this game. However, Wario's Gold Mine is another iconic track in the Mario Kart series, and is probably more recognizable than DK Summit. Its appearance in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is pretty nice, and it's a decent bit of fun too, but what about the original version? Not so much. This one is one of the most annoying tracks in Mario Kart Wii, and it's really saying a lot there. The crap that this track has to offer in this game is borderline ridiculous, and it's a chore to do in Grand Prix. What's even worse is that it's at the end of the cup that it's in, so if you do good in the first three but not here, it's back to square one. This track actually became enjoyable in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but I guess it had to start somewhere. The latest Mario Kart for a handheld console, and generally probably the last I could assume, but anyway, the thing about Mario Kart 7's tracks is that literally none of them are bad by any means. Sure, there's some that are more memorable than others, but the game easily has the best track list in the series, and it's honestly sad to see nobody even talking about this game, like, at all. Well, anyway, Rainbow Road, yes, I know, this is the third time I'm saying it for a whole different game in this video, but anyway, 3DS Rainbow Road may as well be not only the best track in Mario Kart 7, but the best Mario Kart track in the entire series as a whole. It's a beautiful and fun track with amazing visuals and gameplay elements like none other. You get to ride on the rings of Saturn, you get to drive on the moon, there's these tunnels and these gliders in like all the right spots, and even aside from all of that, it's just great to look at. This track is so amazing they had to make it into 3 sections as opposed to laps, which only makes you want more of it because you can't get enough of any section. Well, that might be a bit of a stretch and might get annoying after a while, but overall, this has got to be hands down the best track in the entire Mario Kart series, and it'd be a shame to exclude it here. But again, I still have to pick a bad track as well. The only issue here, again, is that there really wasn't any bad tracks to look at. There's not any tracks in this game I dislike. However, Toad Circuit kind of stuck out here, solely for it just being another circuit track. And yeah, I know there's a Mario Circuit here, but I mean, that one's pretty cool. Toad Circuit isn't as good as that one. But anyway, Toad Circuit still has redeeming qualities. So this is barely even a bad thing. I feel like saying it's another generic circuit track might even be a bit harsh, since it really isn't. Yeah, it's a pretty basic track and has the same theme as most circuit tracks, but it is supposed to be a beginner track. Overall, it has a fun layout in general, and overall, it's good for what it is. It's a good beginner track. And finally, the latest main installment of the series, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is a port of Mario Kart 8 with tons of added content, but it shares basically the same tracks, excluding the currently ongoing Booster Course Pass DLC. Otherwise, the visuals of the tracks in the Mario Kart 8 are absolutely stunning, and the music and some other aspects really pull everything together here, and it's an amazing game. Aside from the subjectively mediocre character roster, and some other complaints about either version of the game, the tracks are still great. Well, most of them, and we'll get back to that one. In any event, Mount Wario is another one of Wario's glorious prized possessions. The fact he owns this mountain and named it after him says a lot. Anyway, it's another section-based track, as opposed to a 3-lap one, which actually works out pretty well in this case. You start on the top of the mountain in this plane and make your way down the mountain, and you go into this dam, which is pretty cool, and after the dam you're in the woods, which can be crazy to navigate at times, but in a good way. It also probably shows that Wario is against deforestation since there's still trees in there. The final section starts with the slalom, or however it's pronounced. Simply going down at a steeper rate at this point, and the music. It feels just so exciting once you're at the final section, making the final stretch to get to the end. Overall, the music changing depending on your section in the track works extremely well, and the transitions in the song are very smooth, even if you're at a weird spot of the song where it's supposed to transition. It's really a nice experience, all things considered. Wario has had a lot of tracks over the years in Mario Kart, but this is peak Wario track. But of course, not all tracks can be winners. It's a pretty popular opinion to say that Bone Dry Dunes is an uninteresting track that kind of lives up to its name, as in it's Bone Dry Dunes and nothing else. It's honestly a pretty forgettable track too. I always forget about its existence more than I remember it. I don't even really hear people praise this track for any reason. It's just kind of there. Well, in general, what is there even for me to say here? It's just this weird track that's pretty subpar compared to anything else in the game, and in more ways than one. Well, that's more or less it for this video. Each Mario Kart game has its winners and losers, and of course there's the ones in the middle. And honestly, just playing through the tracks at all to see which ones are good and which ones aren't, it's a nice experience overall, and I guess that's why we're here today. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.